What's going on, you guys, and welcome to another episode of the Pond Chronicles. And today I'm going to give you 3 tips on how to step up your Whacky Rig game. Now, the Whacky Rig is traditionally fished with a Senko or other worm style bait. It gets its action by when you cast it out there, just that slow descent will cause the legs or each end of the bait to kind of flutter all the way down. And this is where it kicks in, how it triggers a fish bite. 90% of your bites that you get when Whacky rigging, or most others, Texas rig or something like that, will actually get hit on the drop or descent. So I'm going to give you 3 of those tips on how to really elevate your game. Change it up, because maybe you've been out there and you're throwing the Whacky rig and you just say, oh, I just cannot get a bite. Nothing's hungry enough to eat. Well, these are 3 surefire ways to change up the way you fish it, and more likely to give you that big donkey catch that you want. So let's get down into it. All right, guys, the first tip I'm going to show you on how to really step up your Whacky rig game and be able to entice more bites and more hookups is simple. I'm using the Eagle Claw 2-aught worm hook with a weedless guard. You can use other type of hooks too with this. You know, you can use any type of long shank hook, worm hooks, or even extra wide gap hooks. So here's the first one coming up. One way that I really like to throw these, again, this is totally out of the ordinary, is basically, I've got here a bullet weight. And so I'm just going to take and feed it through. Bam. And this is called the Whacky Texas rig. Now, to step that up, now, instead of doing a small and subtle descent, this is going to speed it up a little bit, but it's going to get you more action out of it. Now, this weight that I'm using here for this is just a Titan Tungsten 1/8 ounce worm hook or bullet weight. And then just following protocol, you can use O-rings for this, but for this particular bait, this is the Nico Obsidian bass worm. I just like to hook it in just like that right through it, because this is super durable and it'll keep just like brand new for however many times you want to change setups or anything like that. So, and just like Texas rig fashion, when you're going and casting that bad boy, you're just going to let it do its work. When it gets to the bottom, just kind of hop it, and it's going to change the action big time. So that's tip number 1. So number 2 involves keeping the setup on the hook just the same, just like this, but using a Nico hook. Now, if you don't have Nico hooks on hand, any good size picture nail, small caliber nail could work too. So basically, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Nico weight. This is a VMC 1/8 ounce Nico weight, and I'm basically just going to shove it in there in the front until I get the desired length that I want in there, and then boom, just like that. It's going to cause the descent to be a little bit more faster and cattywampy, and so when it hits, it may just go either go like this and kind of bounce just like that and causing that action there, or it can start spinning a little bit. This is actually the favorite way that I like doing a Whacky rig. So that's tip number 2. Now, tip number 3 is something that you can use for any style of Whacky rigging. This Texas rig, sometimes you can use it with the Nico, or just regular plain Jane Whacky rigging. And that is, if you've got a solid Senko, you basically take your Senko like this. Now remember, when it falls, it's going to be just like this down. So all we're going to do here is we're actually going to take a pair of scissors, whichever ones you got in hand. So basically, you're going to take one end, And I'll usually go almost a third of the way on each side. And then I'll do it again the other way. So all you're doing is changing the profile of the bait and gives it more action. So remember, you can actually do this Texas rig, regular Whacky rig. You could even do it on the Nico way too. All right, guys, let's recap for a minute. I told you I was going to give you 3 tips on how to fish the Whacky rig better, how to really step up the Whacky game. Number 1 was the Texas rig. Number 2 was the Nico Whacky rig. And the third one was just to take and clip the ends about a third way through on each side to give a better disturbance presentation. So if you want to see some of these techniques that I just talked about today, see them in action, check out the card right here or down in the description below. I'll tag it in there. So what technique are you likely to use of the 3 that I showed you to step up your Whacky rig game? Guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned a little something out of this. Maybe it'll be able to help you get that next PB out the next time you're on the water. If you like this video, smack a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead. It does not cost a thing. And so you can be one of the next people to know when the next episode of Pond Chronicles drops. Hit that bell on the right hand side. So until next time, give a man a fish, eat for a day, but teach him and never go hungry again. Tight lines, everybody. Later.